We heard on Deshaun Watson's latest podcast, QB Unplugged, rehab's going pretty well. He's kind of advanced to the performance aspect of it. He's throwing a football. What we're waiting to see is exactly what Kevin Stefanski and the Browns offense has in store for kind of showcasing Deshaun's talents this season. Dan Orlovsky talked about that on ESPN's NFL Live.
Deshaun Watson and the Browns are the biggest unknown. We just don't know exactly who Deshaun is as a player right now. He hasn't played in more than 6 games in a season since 2020. Since becoming a Cleveland Brown, he's got 14 touchdown passes. And I just don't know, like under Kevin Stefanski, what offense they're going to run actually, because he came over from Minnesota. It was this heavy play action offense. Then last year with Deshaun early on in the season, when they did go 5-1, it really wasn't a heavy play action offense. And then Deshaun gets hurt and Joe Flacco comes in and it goes back to a heavy play action offense. And I don't know if Deshaun is overly comfortable with running the offense the way that Stefanski has traditionally run it. And just that's why, is Deshaun remotely close to the player he was? And then what kind of offense are they going to run after this full offseason now that he's hopefully as healthy as possible?
With that, let's welcome in Mary Kay Cabot, Browns beat reporter for the Plain Dealer, cleveland.com. Mary Kay, I know you've talked to Kevin and Andrew Berry and even the Haslams. Why do you think the Browns are confident that Watson will be ready to start the season despite, the questions with his shoulder injury?
Well, they've worked extensively with Deshaun's surgeon to make sure they're all on the same page, to get progress reports along the way. They've collaborated on his program of rehab. And then their head trainer, Joe Sheehan, went out and supervised those initial throwing sessions at UCLA last week, or actually the week before last. And everybody feels good about it. And I think that even though there's not a precedent for this injury that I can find, at least in modern times, they believe that because it was a broken bone and that a bone can heal so well, and maybe in some cases even be stronger than it was before, they're very, very confident that they will have the 3-time Pro Bowl version of Deshaun Watson back under center.
The other thing is the offense. Nobody knows for sure what it's going to be like, but it sure seems like with the changes to the offensive staff, the additions to the wide receiving core, even, Nyheim Hines, it seems like, does it seem to you like they're trying to do everything they can to surround Deshaun Watson with everything to make him as successful as he can be, to maximize his skill set?
Yes, and I think it's been that way since the day he showed up. I think they've worked very, very hard to supply him with as much talent as possible. That's why you saw them go out and get Amari Cooper, one of the best in the NFL. That's why you've seen them draft some of the players that they have and sign some of the players that they have. Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore. So they've done everything that they can to surround Deshaun with as many weapons as possible. And I think they feel pretty good about their situation heading into 2024.
What about the offense? Kevin Stefanski won games with 4 very different quarterbacks a season ago. You bring in Dorsey and you bring in Tommy Rees and Andy Dickerson. And Kevin Stefanski just doesn't seem like a guy that's going to say, this is my offense and this is the way it's going to be. Am I reading that correctly, or do you think it's a little different than that?
No, that's exactly right. He is always open to growth. He has a growth mindset in terms of learning and growing and changing. And he has brought in a number of guys that he's very excited about, some of whom come from the college ranks. So the college game and some of these concepts are sort of trickling up into the NFL. And now you've got fresh ideas coming in from some of these guys. Like you said, the Tommy Rees, the Nick Charltons, who's going to be the run game coordinator, and some of these other coaches that have come in. It's really an overhaul of the entire offensive coaching staff. Ken Dorsey as OC, as we know. And it's going to be a new energy, a new vibe. And I think it's going to be exciting. I think these guys are going to be very creative. I think they're going to be very explosive. I think it's going to be innovative. And I'm anxious to see how it all comes together.